Hi. We're gonna make cinnamon rolls today.
Well, they say he's not coming back and nothing can fill the void, but at least we can try with food. I'll make some apple pie, come on in. It's Dead Dad's Kitchen.
Hi. So today we are going to make cinnamon rolls. I have some thoughts. Here's how I feel about cinnamon rolls. Much like a lot of things when it comes to baked goods, I really do love the packaged version. I love popping open that can and eating the icing. Still so delicious and brings back so many childhood memories for me. It was such like a good Saturday when it started with a Pillsbury cinnamon roll, you know? And my mom and my dad were actually both very cool, just in general, but also when we would go to the mall, every once in a while we'd get a Cinnabon, and my mom loved the like last middle bite, so we always saved that for her. I love Cinnabon and I love cinnamon rolls, and for the longest time I thought they were really, really hard to make. They're not. They're pretty simple, actually. The only thing that I do think is a little bit intimidating is that it is a yeasted dough, which can be a little scary, but we're here, we're together. We're gonna make them right alongside each other, so nothing's gonna go wrong, I promise. I promise is a little aggressive, but because if something does go wrong, I would feel bad, so I don't wanna promise. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. You are going to need whole milk, active dry yeast, cream cheese, a lemon, unsalted butter, a couple of eggs, sugar, flour, and salt. Oh, and cinnamon, and brown sugar. Speaking of yeast, you guys know we're going to bloom our yeast, and that is to make sure that it is alive so we don't go, 3 hours into this and then have cinnamon rolls that didn't rise. We're going to get our milk to a lukewarm, and we do not want it to be too hot. If it's too hot, it will kill our yeast, and then we'll have wasted that milk and wasted some yeast. Usually takes only a couple seconds in the microwave to heat up to the right temperature. My handprint on her sheet. Clap, 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 clap. There we go. It feels sort of silly to say this, but I never realized how hot Jack Harlow was until I fell down a YouTube rabbit hole of some of his interviews, and he is just like so funny and cute and well-spoken and like hot. Okay, so that milk is going to take a couple of minutes. In the meantime, we're going to fill our mixer with the ingredients that we'll need. Just a girl in her mixer. Yo, I actually think I might have to get a new mixer, so that's gonna be tricky, but here is what your yeast should look like. Like that, like foamy on top. We're gonna start mixing this, and then we'll add it in. So you are going to just make sure your sides are all scraped down so everything's combined. Add in your milky, yeasty mixture, and if your dough seems a little bit sticky, just add some extra flour. There's no problem there. Let it knead, and if it still seems a little too sticky, I always do this, but just knead it with your hands a little bit. No problem there. And then you're gonna put it in an oiled bowl, cover it, and wait for it to proof. That dough felt absolutely wonderful. I'm very excited to see how it turns out. So we just have it chilling off to the side right there. We are going to wait about an hour, as per usual, for that to double in size, as per usual. Anytime we use a yeasted dough, we are going to do our first proof, and then we will come back, roll it out, cut it, shape it, whatever, and put it in its container that it will bake in and do a second proof so that it can sort of come back to life again. But for right now, we are just going to set it off to the side. All right, friends, we are back and we are ready to roll out our cinnamon rolls and preparing. We're going to need a cup of packed brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of cinnamon, and a little bit of salt, and then a bunch of room temperature butter. I'm actually gonna add a little bit of white sugar too, because why not? Just a little. Oh, that was a lot. Well, they're cinnamon rolls. So I am just getting this mix all together. And a little salt just to season that up. Truly just like a tiny bit because there's salt in our dough already. Now we're gonna roll out our dough. This is what it looks like. We've doubled in size. I'm going to give a little bit of flour on here just so nothing sticks. And also just to be ahead of the curve, I have 2 prepared baking dishes here so that I have somewhere to put my cinnamon rolls when they're all ready. And we have our butter and a little offset spatula to rub the butter around with. Going to dust our rolling pin with flour too, just so nothing sticks there. And we want to get a pretty big rectangle here, so I like to start it out a little bit as a square, just very, very roughly, so that it sort of wants to always go back to that position. And we want it to get to about 1/4 inch thickness. And before it gets too big, I'm going to just flip it once. And we want this to be a rectangle that we're going to roll up long ways. That way we can get more cinnamon rolls and have them be higher as opposed to wider. Pretty much where we want to be. Now we're going to take our very, very, very room temperature butter, sort of plop that on. This is going to be our glue that holds our cinnamon sugar mixture. Let's do that much for right now, just to see. I'm actually going to flatten this a little bit with my hands, just so there's smaller pieces. There's not too much tugging at the dough. And you really want to get this butter all the way to the edges. That way there's cinnamon sugar in every little nook and cranny. Okay, perfect. Little extra butter, there we go. For good measure. We're kind of just gonna do it like, you know, as evenly as you can like this, but really we're just gonna spread it out with our hands a lot. So it goes. I don't like push it so that my dough flattens out, but I do sort of just like lightly press so that everything kind of sticks and stays in one place for the most part. All the way out to those edges. Amazing. You want to just try to make the roll as tight as possible. So some of that includes pulling back a little bit and then going back over. That way you have this really wonderful concentric, it's a concentric circle? Or no, I guess like I mean it's a cinnamon roll, it's a roll. And then you can start to push and still just trying to make sure it's tight. I saw something the other day where somebody used scissors to cut their cinnamon rolls, so let's try that. Can you guys see this enough? So let's do one like this. Oh, it looks pretty. We'll put our little weird guys in this other one. Now I want to make these pretty big. See, like, look at that, gorgeous. Are you kidding me? I have done the floss trick before where you use floss to cut them instead, and it is very cool and works great, but I only have mint floss, which I also only had the last time, but the last time I washed it so that there wasn't any mint left on it, which was weird, but worth it. So look at our gorgeous little guys. We are going to cover these and let them proof again while we get our oven preheated to 350 degrees. This second proof will take about 30 minutes, and this is when we're going to get our frosting ready. So we are starting on our cream cheese frosting, which is so exciting. The #1 rule of this is you want both your cream cheese and your butter to be so room temperature, like, I'm not gonna say almost melting, but like very malleable. And we're gonna use 2 sticks of butter and a block of cream cheese. And I am using that because I will also be frosting a cake. So I'm making a big batch. You don't need to make as big of a batch. You could for sure do half of this. In fact, I probably should do half, but I'm not going to. We're gonna add some boot. The reason we want these to be both so room temp is so that they just blend together perfectly. These are both such high fat ingredients that it would be easy for one of them to like kind of curdle the other almost if one of them is too cold. God, is there anything prettier than butter? If you have a little bit better quality unsalted butter, I usually like to do that for frosting. So I'm using my Organic Valley butter just because this butter is not being cooked into anything. So it's gonna be more of like its natural flavor coming out. So if I have better butter lying around, I try to use that. And start mixing this up with your whisk attachment. I really don't know why my mixer is doing that all of a sudden, but it won't turn off. So actually I will not be mad if I have to buy a new one, because if I get the baby yellow one that I've wanted literally my whole life, maybe that's a different story. And just keep mixing this up so it's very well combined with each other. It's very annoying. Believe me, I'm trying to turn it off. It's gonna look like a lot because it is, but we're gonna use 2 pounds of powdered sugar. I'm gonna do half at first. A splash of milk. We're gonna use our whole milk to loosen everything up a bit. A splash of vanilla. You're gonna need a little bit of salt so it's not too sweet, as I put 2 pounds of sugar in. I said lemon earlier because lemon's great, but if you have a little bit of citric acid powder, killer. And this is just gonna help cut a tiny bit of that sweetness as well and give us that like little Cinnabon flavor that we love so much. Oh, I gotta plug it back in, of course. And just let this go. Once it's less powdery, you can increase the speed, which will help whip it up beautifully. Look at these guys. Booblin'. I'm just gonna add more sugar in here and keep whipping, so you're not gonna miss much. You guys saw how absolutely stunning our cinnamon rolls looked, but also like this frosting is so delicious. Oh my gosh. So here's our, look at this, look at this, look at this. We're gonna give it a little taste while it's still so warm and gorgeous. So excited. Oh my goodness. How dare we? Oh my God. You guys saw that wasn't even that hard. You could for sure do this. You got like a chill Saturday morning. Am I allowed to show this on camera? I'm gonna take my mom's favorite bite, which is the one right in the center. Holy sh**. No. Oh. Okay, that's why we don't eat off the floor. Not gonna stop me though. You know that song that's like, money on a moony like, pow, pow, pow. That's what this cinnamon roll is giving. Thank God for flour, butter, and sugar. I would love if you made this. I would love if you liked, commented, subscribed, turned on the bell notification, and maybe share this with somebody who you want them to make it for you so you don't have to do it. But whatever your way of getting to this is, you need to do it. Okay, I'm gonna go eat 3 of these and I'll see you later.